And welcome back to the Midday Show. I'm Jeff Everett. He is Mark Messina. And today we've got, as Mark would say, we have some stupid people today.
Stupid people.
We'll decide on that. We're going to talk about a PA casino, about an incident that happened. Is it dumb or unfair? Lightning strike deaths. We obviously had a tornado warning here in north central Pennsylvania yesterday, but there's an even crazier weather story around the world that we're going to talk about. A little bit of a coincidence in the baseball world last night, and then a weekend wrap-up that, honestly, if there is not something in the weekend wrap-up that you can relate to or enjoy, we cannot help you, because we have international affairs, we have space travel, we have video games, we have MMA, we've got movies. It is all over the place for the weekend wrap-up. But before we get to that, Mark, how are you feeling today?
You know what else we have?
What else?
Not in the weekend wrap-up. Before that, we have stupid people. And when we're discussing this, and Jeff's like, what do you want me to put for the titles? I was like, put just stupid people and more stupid people. And he's like, do you really want that out there? And we had this debate. So we cleaned it up a little bit to make it a little softer, a little more politically correct. But once we're done with the first two segments, you can decide how intelligent these people are.
I don't think a lot of people come to us for news, but there are people that get information from us. And I don't know if titling the first two segments of the day "Stupid People and More Stupid People," I don't know if we're doing our crowd a service.
This is speaking of we'll expand knowledge, and you're an English guy.
Sure.
Is it more stupid or is it stupider? Because it's usually it's more and most, or like dumb, dumber, and dumbest.
Okay.
It's certainly stupid and stupidest.
Yeah.
But the middle one, is it stupider or is it more stupid?
So I believe the correct verbiage would be more stupid. However, kind of like, remember when ain't was not a word and then it became a word? Stupider, I feel, is kind of like ain't. Like, so many people use it that it has become part of the vernacular and it's acceptable.
It's just one of those funky words, because usually it's small, smaller, smallest, big, bigger, biggest.
Yes.
And this is stupid, more stupid, and stupidest. I guess you could be the most stupid.
Yeah, you can definitely be the
maybe that is how it started. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe stupider and stupidest kind of came in. Maybe it was more stupid and most stupid.
Yeah. But now I think it's acceptable.
I think
if I saw somebody write down stupider, I don't think I would mark it necessarily incorrect. I think it's kind of like ain't.
So the question for our viewers today, of these people that we're going to talk about, which one is stupider or more stupid?
Because you're saying there's no way they're innocent in their stupidity.
People can judge. Maybe I'm being too harsh.
They can't be innocent in their stupidity. First, you have a story from a Pennsylvania casino. I believe you said it's the one in Bethlehem.
I think it's one over in Bethlehem.
Okay.
Some dude playing slots, which to me, I know, I'll sit there and scroll through box scores of the whole league of, basketball, baseball, whatever. People think that's boring. I can't think of anything more. Slot, press. But then the buzzer goes off and the sirens go, and jackpot winner, guy won $1,900 and change.
Sure.
Gets up, walks over to cash out. Except he forgot to take the voucher, which is important when you go to cash out. Some other person, a lurker, if you will. Did you ever see the lurking episode of,
No.
I think it was Friends?
Okay.
A lurker grabbed the dude's voucher and cashed in his $1,956. So, either he got so excited that, and the guy wasn't, before you think, I think the guy said he was 40. Okay. This is not some 87-year-old person who, we're feeling sorry for. The guy, I don't know if he didn't know what he was doing, he didn't know whatever. You would think before you walk away, because it's not like in the movies where the money just comes pouring out of the machine. Here's the next question. If this is you, do you report it?
Meaning, if I lost the voucher? Oh, 100%. Because what other avenue do you have to go down?
You have the avenue of I'm a moron and I don't want to announce it publicly.
You have to report it. Here's what I'm going to do, because I feel like we need a devil's advocate for today. So I'm going to be the defendee of the stupid. Okay. All right. Here's what I would say. If I were that person,
yes,
the only thought process that could possibly go through my head where I could validate that I didn't make an incorrect move, I could make the argument that it's a casino and you're always being watched in a casino.
I would say
there's cameras everywhere. So if in his joy, right? Because he just won the jackpot. If in his just exuberance, he was just like, I got to go get somebody. Like, I got to go tell somebody. I'm not going to worry about anything right here because, like, it's clearly on camera. Like, somebody must be seeing this. There's no way something could possibly go wrong. They know that I'm the actual winner. I get up, I leave without even thinking about a lurker or something bad happening. That would be like the one defense I could give this person.
Could you imagine, too, the guy's like, what do I do? And someone next to him is like, go to the counter. And he runs over and the other guy takes it and runs the other way. It's almost like a Charlie Chaplin movie.
Now, this is the other thing I would say, too. If I am the casino, I'm just making good on it. Like you said, it was $1,900.
$1,900. Yeah, it wasn't like 20 grand.
For $1,900, if I'm the casino in Bethlehem, I'm just giving out the $1,900 and calling it good. It is what it is. At the end of the day, it's a feel-good story. I'm going to make good on it. That person, the customer's happy. Other people go, oh, well, this casino will do right by me. Like, I would make good on the $1,900.
Here's the next question.
Okay.
And this, now we're away from stupid people. Now we're back to all us intelligent people and philosophical. So you're there at a slot machine.
Okay.
You're there just to have fun, with your buddy.
Sure.
You win $1,900.
Okay.
How much of that do you blow before you get home?
The $1,900?
Not just on gambling, but on food, on hotels, on how much of that $1,900 makes it home with you?
Whatever's left over from what I had initially planned on spending. I know that's a very boring answer, but like hypothetically, let's say like for the night, I was like, I'm going to spend $500. Like that's my limit. That's how much I have in my pocket. That minus $500 would make it home with me. Because I would consider the night a wash. I consider it a free night. I'm winning and I'm ahead when I go home. When it comes to stuff like that, I'm very boring. Like I'm not great at like just going out and having a $2,000 night on the town.
See,
I'm boring.
I don't consider myself boring, but that's exactly what I would do too.
Really?
But I know people. I know of a person. I won't mention any names because but hit like $1,000 on a slot machine.
Yeah.
When they were young. Yeah. And really could have used the $1,000.
Yeah.
And just let's get a limo. Let's get a fancy dinner. And just it was almost like you have $1,000 shopping spree and you have to blow it tonight.
Yeah.
So they blew it in every way they could. And I think there's a lot of people out there who would do that.
And here's the part of it too. Like I'm not even saying they're wrong.
No.
I just don't have it. It's not
me.
Like it's not. But here's the other part too though. I usually set a pretty good limit when I go out. Like it's not like I'm showing up like cheaping the night. Like if I'm going to the casino or I'm going to dinner or I'm going to do something, my limit is typically higher, I think, than like the average individual. So I think for that reason, it makes me feel better about like doing my system.
Do you set your limit in dollars or in Doge?
Doge.
Okay.
Strictly Doge.
Okay.
By the way, we've never talked about, that'll be interesting when casinos start accepting that.
There'll be sections of the casino. There'll be slot machines that are
if you can do it at a gas station,
what's the word for all those digital coins?
Bitcoin?
Yeah, what do they call it? Crypto.
Yeah.
There will be sections of the casino that's crypto.
I would imagine, yes. That'll be interesting.
That will be interesting.
Very interesting. Okay. Moving on to what you claimed were more stupid people. I saw this come across Twitter. We just had the tornado warning here in North Central PA. I don't know about you. I was on the phone with different people like, did anything happen? What did you see? What's going on there? Some people were like, I had some hail, some strong winds. It's starting here. We didn't get anything. I looked up this story on Twitter and I immediately read it to you and you were like, yeah, that's something we should probably talk about.
Yes.
In India, in the last 24 hours, over 60 people have died from lightning strikes. It gets even better.
Here we go. This starts out as sad.
Yes, it gets I'd say better.
It starts sad.
It's even larger than that because hospitals have said that there would have been over 100 deaths if it were not for the intensive care that people received immediately after being struck by lightning.
Now the story becomes heroic.
Now this story is not necessarily, it wasn't one lightning strike. These were multiple lightning strikes across India, okay?
Jeff, Why don't you tell the people how the people got struck by lightning? Like, what were they doing?
Yes. So the majority of them, not all of them, but the majority of people that were killed by lightning in India in the last 24 hours, and again, there's over 60 of them, were trying to take selfies with the lightning, like selfies, like with the lightning in the background, or were just simply trying to take pictures of the lightning itself.
Let's go to a mountaintop and let's take pictures with us and the lightning in the background. That will make such a good post. Like,
it's pretty crazy. So here's, again, so can I be the defendee of the stupid again?
I would like to hear this one.
So this one's not as good as the casino.
One of my topic things where it says lightning strike death. I wanted to put death by selfie, but that obviously didn't make the cut.
It would have been good.
Go ahead.
So this is the only way that I could, and again, this isn't even really a defense. What are the odds of being struck by lightning? Like what? Like
apparently
honestly,
they're going up.
They are going. Well, in India they're going up, which is another thing I want to talk to you about. Is like the fact that this happened in India. Like one of the reports said, like they're claiming this is like part of the climate change, everything that's happening. And again, I'm not anti-climate change, but I don't think that this is necessarily a climate change issue. Anyway, we'll get back to that. One of the things that if I'm in India or I'm anybody, what are the odds of getting struck by lightning? Just like they're really high. Like they're not, or I'm sorry, they're really low. Like so like, I'm not saying I'm one of those people out in the rain or standing on water. Like when I'm golfing, I'm holding the iron club. Like I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is like, you're probably taking the selfie and you're saying to yourself, like, what are my odds?
Well, they were.
What are the chances? They were.
But, and this is what I said, like, cause you're like, there's people dead and obviously it's, you know.
Sure.
I said, if you were at a beach and there was like a pier or something and it said, there's a big sign that said, don't swim shark infested waters. And a bunch of, drunk fat guys decided this is where we're going to have a cannonball contest. And guys start jumping in off the pier and the sharks start coming up and going, like, there's a point you just don't feel bad for them. And I kind of feel like, and especially I don't know how to say this without offending most of the people. Like I've taken selfies and people do take, like you run into somebody, or whatever, like we have all taken selfies. But those people who take a new selfie every day and post it, like people do not look at those people as the great thinkers of society.
Sure.
And so when you hear this, like, anything that bad happens while people are taking selfies, you immediately think moron. And now you're in a lightning storm on a hilltop taking selfies and you're getting struck by lightning. I just don't think society looks on these people and says, oh, that's a tough break.
Listen, I don't disagree with you. I will say, as we've gone further and further along, I do think the culture around the selfie is shifting more and more. Because I agree with you. I think there are generations that look at the selfie and say, like, how moronic, how self-indulged, like, why do these people have to do this? But there's also like the idea of like, I'm just now getting used to the idea that I always have a camera. I'm still trying to wrap my head around the idea that I always have a camera. Because you know what, like when I was a teenager and we had the disposable cameras, like when I go back through old photo albums, you know what we always did? We flipped it around and we took a picture of ourselves. We just weren't doing it every day, but we weren't doing it every day because we didn't want to. We weren't doing it every day because you didn't have a disposable camera in your pocket 24/7.
I understand.
So I do think the culture on that is going to shift. The last thing on this, and you and I have talked about, like before we came on the show, I said to you, some of the articles on Twitter that were describing these lightning deaths in India, they were trying to kind of like turn it into like a climate crisis article or trying to turn it into like a climate change article. And personally, like I just disagree with that because I said to you, like if the same lightning strike happens in the middle of central Pennsylvania, nobody dies, one person dies, two people die. Like it all depends how many people in central Pennsylvania went outside and held their camera up at the lightning.
Right.
But the point I'm making is like in India, it's packed. There's nowhere to go.
It can't be that packed.
It's packed. People don't have like in communities in India, like the people that are getting struck, the people that are being struck,
zapped,
fried, electrocuted. Is that too deep? These people are not like, the majority of them are living like in slums. The majority of them are living in places that are not like, they're not in their 3-bedroom house, like with a roof over top of their head. So like,
in this, are you sure?
I feel pretty good about it. I also read an article that I have pulled up here from the Weather Channel, and it specifically says that the majority of these lightning strikes happen in the poorest slums of India. So like, I'm not making this up off the top of my head. But the point that I was making to you earlier is like, this would happen in India. It wouldn't happen anywhere else. The density of population in India and how many people are living there, like, of course it's going to happen in India. Like, this story wouldn't have happened anywhere else. I thought they went to a hilltop. What's that?
I thought they went to a hilltop to take pictures of the lightning strike.
Yeah, remember, it was multiple locations.
Okay. So now we're going to have this cultural phenomenon, and they're going to say that lightning strikes in the slums of highly congested areas, just like tornadoes go to trailer parks, that they're naturally attracted.
I don't think it's about the natural attraction. What I'm saying is people are trying to make a connection of two things that are not necessarily core.
No, and I get that.
Like I get it's like when it comes across my phone screen and it says 60 people died of lightning strikes in India, obviously I'm like, well, that's abnormal. But I don't immediately attach it to climate change or climate crisis.
I'm with you.
It just I just don't understand the connection.
Yeah, and I'll say this: I'm one of these guys. We have a back deck that's covered, but it's open. There's no screen. There's no.
Yeah.
And I love to go sit on the deck and watch it rain.
Yeah.
Like if there's a thunderstorm, I'm like, I have to, because you have to run a little bit through the rain to get to the deck. And I love. And the other day it was lightning and lightning and lightning, and I was like,
you went outside.
You know, if I get struck sitting here, like I'm protected, I'm in the shade, but like lightning. Right. Like now, if I get hit, the house is hit, like everything's hit, and like how many times? But I was like, boy, that would be kind of stupid, wouldn't it? And then I went back in the house.
And then you stopped.
And then I stopped. But I did not run out and like climb on top of the shed roof and try to take
the picture. No,
I did not.
Which that's good. So you're not.
But you're saying the only reason I didn't do it is because I'm old and I didn't grow up with a camera in my pocket my whole life. And if I was younger, that would have been the first thing I thought of. Time for a selfie.
Like it might have been. 100%. Who knows?
What percentage of teenage, and I'm going to gender this, and I shouldn't, but I will. What percentage of teenage girls do you think take a selfie every day?
I think regardless of girls or boys, I think the majority of teens are taking a selfie a day because of like Snapchat and different stuff. I think it's I
think it's the majority, over 50%.
Oh, well over 50%. It's not, and
Is it only me, or does that not seem healthy?
I don't know. I mean, if you really wanted to dive into it someday, we could. I'll say this. I just think it's a result of what would have happened to anybody. Like, I think if you gave anybody a camera in their pocket every day, I think they would have started taking pictures of them.
But see, I have a camera in my pocket every day, and I never take pictures.
Because
I take pictures of other stuff.
Because you grew up in a world where, like, you weren't trying. Like, once the camera was in your pocket, you weren't really trying to figure yourself out anymore.
See,
like, when you're 13, 14, 15, like, how do I do my hair? What do I look like from this side? Like, what do I look like in this shirt? Like,
see, when I was a kid, we had things called mirrors.
Yeah, that's fine. But now, like, it's just easier to go like that. Like, it is. It's also easier to ask your friend, like, how does this necklace look? Like, how do these earrings look? Like,
and I get that.
Shade of whatever.
I do understand that because I've done that in shopping.
Yeah.
And like, does this look stupid? And I've taken pictures and sent them to people who aren't there. No, there's a practicality to it. Absolutely.
Sure.
I agree.
I don't think you and I are any different. I just think the difference was we didn't have it.
Okay.
I really believe
that. Then here's my follow-up question. How many people, when they're like the in the car on my way to work selfie, how many people take double-digit pictures before they get one that they like?
A third.
Isn't that crazy?
25%, a third.
Isn't that crazy?
Because it's like anything else. Because it all depends on what you, I don't like passionate is the wrong word, but it's like what matters to you in a day. And so like if your appearance and how you are portrayed to people is one of the things that matters most to you, you're going to take multiple pictures. I'm not saying it is or isn't crazy. What I'm saying is that I get it. Like I understand why people do it.
And that was well said. If it's a third, if the most important thing in the day for a third of the people is their appearance, we have problems.
You don't think it's a third?
I hope not.
I bet you it's more than a third. I bet you there are people who wake up in the day.
You may be right.
I bet you a third of the people in this country wake up in the morning and their appearance is one of the top 2 things they're most worried about. Top 3, top 2.
Oh God.
It would be like money, work, appearance for the like average working American.
Isn't there like, what do I have to do today? Shouldn't that rank like?
No, because I think for a lot of people the day is monotonous. I think there's a huge chunk of America where the day is very, very like it's Monday and this is what I do on Mondays. And it's so, I think it's very interesting. The social concept of, are we different or did we just not have it? And I think more times than not for the younger generation, I don't think they're different from us. I just think they have things we didn't have.
Yeah, I guess. I think the whole aspect was like you said, there's some there's some funny things. Like when I run into somebody that I know that I haven't seen, like at Sam's Club. Yeah. I ran into a college football coach at Sam's Club.
Right.
So I'm taking pictures and I'm sending it to my buddies from college who would play. Like, look who I saw at Sam. Like stuff like that is stupid. But the whole just like, look at me, look at me, look at me. Like, I just don't.
When you were 5, you never said, like, watch this, Mom. Watch this, Dad.
I was 5.
I understand, but that's the point.
Yeah, no, I only said it once because my parents said, shut up and leave me alone.
But the point I'm making, though, is, like, it is so ingrained in us, we just don't realize it. Like, even without a camera, when you're 5, watch this, Mom. Watch this, Grandpa. Like, it is very much ingrained. Like, the me thing is something like you have to be taught to say please, and you have to be taught to say thank you, and you have to be taught to, like, be nice to others and say, like, your world when you grow up is, like, very egocentric. It's not a negative thing. It's just that's how we are built. And so the idea of now you're going to give people a camera that is on them all the time that flips around and you can take pictures of yourself, I am not shocked at all that society views that is a crucial thing.
That is very well said.
Just doesn't surprise
That is very well said.
You want to thank Wise Markets?
Thank you to Wise Markets. Did you probably used to be able to buy disposable cameras there? Do they even make them anymore?
You know what? They're making a comeback.
Are they really?
It's like a not a gag gift, but it's kind of like a like an eccentric timepiece kind of thing.
Like the record player.
Yeah, kind of. Like it's making a comeback where now all these records and stuff. Same thing with like the disposable camera.
Well, whether you can or cannot get disposable cameras at Wise Markets, you get everything else for all your grocery needs. Since 1912, I found that was
when the Titanic sunk, in case you're wondering.
There you go. Or wasn't that 1914? But Wise Markets has been since 1912, founded in Sunbury, Pennsylvania, all over the place. Where I was just at a baseball tournament this weekend over Scranton area, and like right by the field, we're driving by, and there's Wise Markets, so they're everywhere. You can order ahead if you need a job and you're looking for all kind of employment, plus all of your grocery needs, your pharmacy needs, your bakery needs, and the bakeries there are great. We get cakes there all the time.
Yeah.
Whenever we need birthday cake and stuff like that. So thank you to Wise Markets for sponsoring us here at NorthcentralPA.com and all that we do and all they do for the community.
All right. We also have Moon and Raven Public House. We have Eat and Run Catering, and we also have the Break Room. Be sure to blow off some steam here before the summer ends and we go back into the fall. And in order to win, join the Midday Show Facebook group, and you will automatically have a chance to have your name drawn. If your name is drawn, that fancy wheel over Mark's shoulder will be spun. And if Mark lands on something for you, you are the grand poobah of gift card winners. You also, as Mark reaches out, if your name is selected,
you win a T-shirt.
You get a T-shirt.
You win a T-shirt.
Yes.
I think I gave one to Bub the other day when he was in. He's like, "Oh, these are awesome." I was like, "Oh, you can take one." Yeah. And he didn't win, and I just grabbed too many, and now I just made a mess. But
it's fine.
Anyway, so you win a T-shirt.
I like
you get a
that they're subtle. Like it's not like we don't plaster you with advertisements. There's a subtleness to the shirt.
And this is something like when you're new, we're like, we need to design a T-shirt, and we're like, what do we like? Do we want to make it gaudy? Do we want to make it loud? Do we want to make it? And we didn't. We did. We made it very subtle. We have the emblem there on the front, like that, and then on the back. I wanted a big picture of Jeff and I. No. We were outvoted, and it just says NorthcentralPa.com. So there you go.
Everyone needs like a subtle white shirt, not a plain white shirt, but like a subtle white shirt.
Absolutely.
Just has a little something.
Yeah, you just don't want to be loud all the time.
That's right.
I mean, you do, but most people don't.
You've seen my fashion choices. I just scream.
You scream.
When I wake up in the morning, I'd say, what is the most obnoxious thing?
That is you. You need attention, right? When you walk out of the house.
Today's random winner from the Midday Show Facebook group is Paul Kersey.
Paul Kersey.
Paul Kersey. Let's spin it up.
Jerome's brother, Paul.
Paul.
You remember Jerome? He was a Portland Trailblazer, is what I remember. Was he forever a Portland Trailblazer? He must have gone somewhere else.
You're going to make fun of me. I think he was in the Washington deal with like Harvey Grant and Kevin Ducksworth. There was like a trade there somewhere. How about those for names?
I remember both of them.
Yeah.
Harvey was Ho's brother.
The fact that his last name was Ducksworth was just fantastic.
I don't think there was an S. I think it was Duckworth.
Kevin Duckworth.
Yeah.
All right. And what was great about him too is like he was like 7 foot.
He's a big dude.
Kind of roly-poly.
Yeah.
So Duckworth would come out kind of roly-poly. It's pretty good.
So we have a $25 gift card, a $50 gift card, $100 gift card for Wise Markets. I've cooled off. So to Paul, it is not, as the temperature has gone up, I have gone down. So I'm not really feeling confident about myself. But here we go. You got a chance. Hopefully you win a $100 gift card, and you have won nothing because I'm
sorry, Paul.
I'm cold.
Sorry, you are cold.
It is.
You were very cocky.
I was, and I feel it too. Like it's like when you go to the tee box and you're like, I know I'm hitting this one in the woods. Yeah. There's no way the fairway and me are going to meet anytime soon. I got to kind of. We're at the All-Star break now. I got to kind of get my juices reflowing. I don't know. I got to get recharged and refocused. I got to start giving away some winners. But anyway,
that's understandable. Last night, New York pitchers Garrett
Cole. I think
it
was 2 nights ago.
2 nights ago?
It was either Friday or Saturday. I don't remember.
Garrett Cole threw a complete game, but it reminded you of a story.
Well, there's funny and you didn't know this story, and I just pointed out. I'm starting to get texts because I didn't see the game. He had 2 outs in the 9th inning. He needed 1 more out. The Yankees were winning 1-0, and Aaron Boone, who is the Yankee manager, went to the mound to talk to him because the guy coming up had homered off Garrett Cole a couple times in his career, and it wasn't the greatest matchup in the world. And he just wanted to go talk to him, like, do we bring in the closure now? And you can find this online. Like, the manager gets there, and these conversations are usually incredibly subdued and quiet and whatever. And the pitcher just basically barks at the manager for like 20 seconds, and then the manager turns around and goes back to the dugout, and he gets an out. So I start getting texts from people. I'm getting Facebook messages from people, and they're like, this reminded me of your brother when he told Joe Torre to sit down. You had never seen it.
I had never seen it.
I told you to pull it up, and when you Googled it on YouTube, it was the #1 thing on YouTube.
So most of the time when you search a person, there will just be like one word with it. So like when I type in Mike Messina, you think it would say like Mike Messina pitcher, Mike Messina Orioles, Mike Messina Yankee, Mike Messina World Series, like something along those Hall of Fame.
This is on YouTube, not on Google.
On YouTube. So the first thing on YouTube is Mike Messina yells at Joe Torre, who is the renowned,
who is the Hall of Fame manager. And what happened? Here's this stupid story. It was late in Mike's career. I don't know if it was last year, or next to last year, but he's pitching in Detroit, and he has a chance at a shutout. And as you get older and old, as we all get older, like we're just not. Yeah. So his chances of when he was a kid, he's finishing games all the time. As he got older, he was finishing less and less. And he got into the 9th inning. They had like a 4-0 lead or a 5-0 lead or something like that. And somewhere in the 9th inning, A-Rod made an error that extended the inning, and the game should have been over. And then, like, with 2 outs, Maglio Ordonez, I remember, hit a knuckle curve, and he rolled it through the left side for a single, and the guy scored, and he lost the shutout. So in baseball terms, like, you would take the guy out now. Sure. Because his pitch count was high. You would have never left him in that long. So Joe Torre's like, okay, the only reason you were still in was you were trying to get a shutout. So Joe Torre just kind of lumbers up to the top step of the dugout. Mike was a little upset. And I think he's upset at A-Rod. I think he was upset at him and, whatever, just the emotions of, and he knew, like, and as it turns out, it was the last complete game of his career.
Yeah.
So he knew, like, I'm not going to get many more opportunities of this. And he turns and points. And if you pull it up, and what's really funny about it is like when he yelled, the manager's like, "Oh, okay." Joe Torre went back and sat down in the dugout. He struck the next guy out. Game's over. When we went back to Yankee Stadium for Mike Messina Day, or after he got in the Hall of Fame, there was something, and we were down in one of the guys' offices, and I don't remember what job, media relations or whatever, but his screensaver, there's a point where Mike has his finger out and he's yelling at the dugout, and that's his screensaver. And we were laughing. We're like, "Oh, did you just pull that up when we were coming today?" Yeah. And he goes, no, that's my screensaver. I leave it up all the time. So it is like this stupid little iconic moment.
That's pretty good.
And that everyone laughed about. And then they said afterwards, "Did Joe say anything to you in the dugout?" He goes, there's something along the lines of after it was over. He goes, "Yeah, that was pretty funny, but don't ever do it again." He's like, "Yeah, I'm sorry."
I did say to you, there was the one like tidbit I had while watching it is I asked you how old he was. And you said he would have been 38 or 39.
He was either 38 or 39.
And I said, so there was kind of this like, what's the word I'm like, the moment, because the odds of Joe Torre, most of the time, he's probably going out to talk to a 20-something-year-old. Like, most of the time.
The fact that he's a veteran.
Right. But here, like in this instance, you have a 39-year-old adult, like essentially an adult who's like who's lived life and had kids and negotiated like this is not a kid anymore. Like it's not a young professional. Like this is an adult.
This wasn't a kid who was leaving a nightclub at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Correct. So so in this case, like Mike looked like a 39-year-old. He looked like somebody who was willing to,
We talked about this earlier, and in sports, I guess in any aspect, there's other aspects of life where we could probably think about it where it comes into play, but in sports, it just happens so much younger. They talk about golfers in the case of the yips. And you think as guys get older and they're like, he's been putting for 20 years on tour and he should know this and he should be confident. And it should be the youngster who has trouble with it and who's nervous. But youth, the arrogance of youth and the longevity of like my career, I'm going to have these over and over. And as you get older, you're kind of like, I don't know how many more opportunities I'm going to have at this. And that played into at least Mike's aspect. Garrett Cole's still younger and still in the prime of his career. But Mike's like, this may be the last shutout I ever get a chance at. And it was. He never got another one. It was the last complete game. Yeah. So we think that like the veterans can handle all this more because they've been through it, and they have, but they also can see the light at the end of the tunnel. And that's where pressure comes in, is like, if you're like, hey, I'm going to have 100 more opportunities, what pressure is that?
Right.
If you're like, this may be the last shot I ever get, then that's pressure.
Yeah. No, so I 100% agree. Real quick, a weekend wrap up. There's a lot of like neat stories, but stuff we weren't really sure if there was like a different angle or a different way to talk about it. But obviously we wanted to just kind of touch on some of them. The first one, Richard Branson, owns Virgin. He went to space. Did you see this at all? Did you get to watch that?
I knew he was there, but I didn't watch.
He went to space. There's two crazy, I shouldn't call them crazy. The first one is they did it differently than I ever thought they would do it. They actually, it almost looks like 3 planes. And the middle one is the shuttle. So when it takes off, it's almost like 2 cockpits and then the shuttle in the middle. And so the plane takes it up and then the middle one blasts off from the 2 other shuttles. Did I do a decent job of explaining that?
Yes, you did.
So I thought that was really neat because I haven't read a lot into like how they're going to do this space travel and the trips and everything else. So that was pretty cool to see how they were actually pulling it off. The other part of this, Bezos was supposed to be first. Have you heard about this at all? So Jeff Bezos was supposed to be first. Virgin moved up their thing. I don't know how far they moved it up, but they moved it up. So Branson was now first. And the kicker was Elon Musk was there helping and was there the morning. Yes. So there's a little kind of like Musk, Bezos, like kind of
little rivalry there.
A little, just a little something. I don't know the background. I'm not saying they don't like each other. I don't know that for a fact. But you could tell.
But it seems like that.
Like, let's put it this way. Virgin moves it up and Musk is on board. It feels a little bit kind of like Musk's kind of being able to kind of jump ahead maybe in a way.
The only way this is better is if Musk had like a fake mustache or the Chevy Chase Fletch fake teeth and the glasses to try to like a bad disguise pretending it's not him.
Yeah.
That would have been awesome.
Could have been good. So that was, I don't know. To me, that was almost more fascinating than the actual fight itself. Yeah,
I agree. Look who's, it's almost WWE-ish. Like, look who's in the corner.
It was.
Wow.
It was. And Branson, and like, they weren't quiet about it either. Like, Branson was like, yeah, he was with me all day, and he's been a big part of us, like, moving this up. It was nice. It was pretty neat. It was pretty neat. Another instance that happened, we've talked about video games a couple of times on here. There was an unwrapped, so unopened Mario 64, which was the #1 selling game for Nintendo 64s.
Okay.
And it just sold at auction for over $1.5 million unopened.
I don't know what to say.
It's pretty. I
mean, when you think of all the people are like, how could I have been a millionaire? How could I? All we had to do was buy one of these and not open it.
This was the other crazy part too. 25 years old. 1996 was when the game came out. There's very like you and I've talked about this. There's not a lot of things that make me feel like old. When I read that this was 25 years old, I was like, wow.
It gets worse, dude. It only gets worse.
It must get worse. Also, neat fact, this was the first game where Mario was 3D. Up until this point, Mario was always the 2D.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yep, Mario was always the 2D.
I wouldn't have thought of that, but now that I think about it,
yeah.
I never played Super Mario. My college roommates and they played it for hours.
Okay.
And I was like, I'm not going to start because I don't want to get addicted.
No, you can definitely like fall down that rabbit hole.
I stayed away. It's like I would watch them play, but it was easier to get up and walk away.
Yes. I don't know if I've ever told you this. So in college, I had an Xbox 360. Almost everybody in my apartment had an Xbox 360. And we used to do these like insane dynasties. And like, we had a college football dynasty that went like decade.
Yeah,
like it was insane. Yeah.
So, and you told me something about the red circle
I got the red ring of death.
The red ring of death.
Literally like a month before I graduated, which if you get the red ring of death on your Xbox, basically means like you got to ship it in, they got to repair it, you have to pay, and it's really a hassle. Like you're almost better off just going and buying a new one. I almost took it as like a sign that like, and I never bought a new Xbox, I never got a PlayStation, so I have kind of been out of that world for a long time. But that was I don't want to call it my saving grace, but I have probably saved a ton of time not playing video games because I got that like a month before I graduated.
As a college kid, when you get the red ring of death, the emotional devastation, were you like inconsolable?
I don't think so because I had so much other things going on. Like I was at that,
it was like, so close to graduation.
Just graduation and the other thing too, like I was over 21. There was this whole other lifestyle, like going out and like, having a good time. So like there were so many other things going on in my life. And also too, like I had just gotten into coaching as well. So I just had so many other things going on in my life that it wasn't as devastating. But I will tell you, if it would have happened a year sooner, yes. If it would have happened a year sooner, there would have been like some slight trauma trying to figure out what to do.
I understand.
For certain.
All right, what's next?
China, back in the news a little bit. This was like sneaky. It wasn't like headline news. However, China recently in the South China Sea basically drove off. They're calling it like they pushed away a U.S. submarine and basically said like, this is, you're not allowed to be here. This is our territory. The United States Navy has come out and said that that's not true. That's not the case. So now there is kind of like I don't want to call it a dispute, but there is kind of like a he said, she said going on about whether or not that the it's China, Vietnam, and I want to say Malaysia are claiming property of the islands in the South China Sea.
Okay.
And the value there is like there are some resources, there's some different things as far as mining, some stuff on that end, but also too, the Pacific Ocean is just so large, there will always be an intrinsic value to claiming that this is our land.
Right.
Just for flights and different military purposes. So just a little kind of like,
So now here's my question again, knowing nothing about it. If say we did, because in a submarine, it's not like there are clear barriers underwater where they're like, this is the line. Say we did cross somewhere where we shouldn't have been, would we come out and say it? Or would we say, no, we didn't?
I think we would come out and say, I think if like the gig is up, I think we would say it. Do I think espionage and we're attempting 100%? I have no doubt that Americans, regardless of what arm or branch they're in right now, they are in places they are not supposed to be.
Jason Bourne.
I have no doubt. But I think once the gig is up, like, I think most people come forward because what are you going to do? Like, what are you going to do?
I just wonder, from a total PR standpoint, does society think, oh, look, our militaries, they don't even know where they're allowed to go. They just drive all over and they don't even, or especially because it's China, are they saying like, yeah, we screwed up and China called us out, but if we just blame them, in the world today, America's like, yeah, China, it's all their fault.
So I think I'm not an expert, but this is what I think is happening. I think what is happening is that there are a number of countries in Asia that have tried to claim these islands. And have said that, and basically what the USA is saying, like, you can't, like, despite the islands, you can't claim the waterways. And they're already like, there was a, what is the word I'm looking for? I don't want to call it just paperwork, but there was already like a meeting, like a thing about this saying that, like, correct, like these are non-territorial waterways, passage is allowed through. And the US is basically testing China and some of these other Asian nations to say, like, this is what the agreement says, and we are coming through. And China's essentially saying, like, no, that's not true. So it is like it's he said, she said.
So we were the kid running through the yard yelling, you can't stop us, you can't stop us.
I think we were the kid running through our yard. Like we thought it was our yard running through it. Now, the interesting part is, like I said, there's military play in this because more than any other place in the world, like if you ever watch like old, like World War II, World War I, like documentaries, and like they have the maps and lay it all out, more than anywhere else in the world, actual physical land in the Pacific Ocean is more valuable than anywhere else in the world because the ocean is so vast that you just can't make it from one continent to the other without those islands and those chunks of land in the Pacific. So there is like the idea of them trying to claim these islands. There is a little bit of the USA kind of like there's a military value that if all of a sudden they can claim these islands, it becomes much easier for them to kind of hop their way around the world. Vice versa, we may want the islands for us to hop around. So there's a lot of military play to it.
And obviously people come to the Midday Show to get our military expertise because we are like I've seen Stripes.
Saving Private Ryan is probably my second favorite movie of all time.
No.
You don't like Saving Private Ryan?
I like it. It's not really that good. You've seen Stripes, right? Please tell me you've seen Stripes. Okay, thank you.
Entertainment, Black Widow just came out. It's a new Marvel movie. It came out in theaters and on Disney Plus. It is the highest grossing movie since the pandemic started. I believe it made 80 million in theaters, and I believe it made 60 million streaming. So almost 150 million total combined.
So this is one, and you can explain to me how this works.
Yeah.
So you said it's on Disney Plus.
Yes.
So you have to have a Disney Plus subscription.
Yes.
But you still have to pay for the movie above and beyond your subscription.
So for example, like Cruella last month, I think it was $29.99 to buy. Okay. And then I think at the end of August, it becomes free. So anybody with a Disney Plus account can watch it. So same thing with the Black Widow. Now here's the crazy part. Like we bought Cruella because like I used the account, my girlfriend used the account, her family, my sister and my nieces. Like by the time you add it all up, it's like $3 a ticket.
You probably shouldn't say that out loud.
Why is that?
Because you only have to have one person on the
That's not true. Disney doesn't care. Disney just wants eyeballs. They just want people watching. That's all they want.
Well, that's why they do it, because you get 4 people in a room for $29. Now it's $7 a ticket. Yeah, and it's cheaper than going to the movies anyway. And so once you buy it, how long do you have it?
Till it's free on Disney Plus.
Oh, so you paid $29 once and now you have it forever.
Yes. Now, when you say forever, though, remember, it's going to become free eventually.
But still, yes. So when you bought it, because then, like my kid could watch it another time and they could watch it. They get friends over and watch it.
For like Cruella in the Marvel movie, you probably don't get as much of a bang for your buck because like you probably watch it once, maybe twice. If you have kids, when the animated ones come out, Because you're just gonna play that. I mean, you're gonna like the one, the Luca one just came out on Pixar. Right. My niece is like obsessed with it.
Did you see the new one with The Rock?
Jungle Cruise?
Yeah.
It's coming out.
How much money is that gonna make?
Quite a bit.
Quite a bit.
It might jump this Black Widow. So anyway, like a comeback for the movies. Like it's
I agree.
150 million in a weekend is not like, especially like post-pandemic, that's not laughable. Like that.
Well, and what they've figured out now, because this was the whole thing, how do you sell the movie at home? And it's such a new concept, but people like you are going to be like, well, for $30, like I just, as we're going to get to in the next topic, I think, we just got the Conor McGregor fight for 69 or 70 or 65 or something like that.
Yeah.
But you're just like, hey, it's $30 for a movie. Well, if we went to the movies, it's this much money. And
it would cost three of us $30 to go and see it.
Exactly.
And I bet you at this point, probably 12 plus people have watched the movie on my account.
Yeah. So it's just something new that people are going to have to get used to, but it's going to happen more and more. But for people who still want to go to the movie experience, and if there's just like two of you, then do I want to pay $30? Because you're right. Like a lot of these movies we're probably never going to watch again, or we watch it years later when we see it on TBS or something like that. But yeah, for two of you that just like doing date night, going to the theaters might be a better experience.
Oh, yeah.
But for a bunch, so it's just another option that people get used to.
Yeah. And if you have kids, like I said, the animated movies are a steal. Because like you pay the 30, but the kid's going to watch it
over and over
12 times, 15 times, like 30 times before it's actually free. So I mean, it's a steal.
Yep.
Conor McGregor.
Yes.
Snapped his ankle.
Bad. Ugly.
How much of the fight did they actually fight?
He broke it, like there was 10 seconds to go in the first round. So they'd fought the whole 5-minute first round.
Okay.
It was supposed to be a 5-round fight, and Conor had gotten pummeled in the first round. My son told me of the judges' cards, like a round goes 10-9.
Okay.
If it's really one-sided, they'll give it 10-8.
Okay.
And it's like winning a double round.
Okay.
And my son said 2 of the 3 judges had ruled that Dustin had won the first round 10-8.
Okay.
So, I mean, Conor got pummeled. My son didn't think it was fair. He not fair. He thought it was a 10-9 round, and there's debate over that. But they got the whole first round in. What is great about Conor McGregor and what has made him what he is, and the topic we'll discuss tomorrow, he is laying there with a broken ankle, and he broke his ankle. The other guy didn't break it. They both swung and missed, and they kind of dodged, and he took a bad step and just totally rolled his own. It was ugly. It was bad, but it was just a freak thing. But he's sitting there in the ring like he can't move. And after he did it for like the last 10 seconds, like he went down. You saw these 2 big swings, and McGregor's on his butt. And your immediate thought is, oh, the guy just landed a punch and knocked him down. As they see it on replay, he rolls his own ankle. He like winces. He goes down and he just covered up because he has a broken leg. He can't move.
Right.
So for the last 10 seconds, he just took it. And then, but he's sitting there on his butt, broken ankle, talking trash, saying stuff about the guy's wife. It is what makes him the creature that he is. And he makes so much money doing it.
Yeah.
It is unbelievable.
There are certain aspects in life, whether sometimes it's business, sometimes it's sports, but there are just aspects in life where like there is no substitute for arrogance. Like
he has proven it.
There just isn't. And so like, if you're an MMA fighter, like obviously like you need to be skilled, that you need to be in shape. Like there's a lot, I'm not just saying arrogance will get you there, but like, there's a lot of skilled dudes. Like there's a lot of tough guys. Like your mindset and your arrogance and your willingness, like there's not a lot of people that could sit on their ass with a broken ankle and talk crap to the person across from them. And I would argue it's part of the reason McGregor has made it as far as he's made it.
And he's a great fighter, and he's won multiple belts and multiple weight classes, and he is a great fighter. But you're right. There is the arrogance level that when he fight, and he's only 32. He seems like he's been around forever, but he's
not to cut you off. At 32 in MMA, isn't that?
No, there's guys. There was a guy. The card right. The Wonder Boy was 38. There's guys in their 40s that fight.
Okay,
it's not that old. The guy he fought was 32.
But did they start as young as McGregor?
I don't know.
Okay. See, and I'm making this up. Jimmy, it'd be neat to talk to Jimmy about it. To me, it feels like this isn't so much more about your age as the window. like, when did you really start getting beat up, and then like how many years do you have after that? Does that make sense?
Yes, it is interesting how much punishment they can take. But he's young enough that he can come back, and because he is such an obnoxious, like you either love him or you hate him,
or you love to hate him.
Correct. Right. So the next time he fights, everyone's going to get it because they either want to see him kick the other guy's ass or get his ass kicked.
Yeah.
And that is what makes him what he is.
Well, the world we're moving into, and you and I have talked about this, like the world of pay-per-view sports, because it's coming. Like, did you just see what they did with the Brady Rogers golf thing?
Yes.
And like it's the world of pay-per-view. We're just scratching the surface on sporting events being pay-per-view. But he is, the point with McGregor, like, he is made for it. Like, I could see McGregor doing this for 10, 15, 20 years, like even after his prime, like even washed up. Well, I could see him doing this forever because he just has that personality that lends itself to that pay-per-view style.
What was great about this fight, it was a trilogy. They'd already fought twice and they both won one of them. So it makes it that, you know. But the McGregor, I think, was seated fifth, ranked fifth in the weight class. Dustin was 2. Okay. And the champion is sitting in the crowd watching, and like Dustin's he's ready to fight for the title. Right. He's like, I don't want to fight the champ. I want to fight McGregor because I'm going to make more money. Right. And he even said, I'm a prize fighter. He goes, I'll be done, then I'll go win the belt. And I don't think he's ever been. I think he was like an interim champ when the belt was vacated, so they gave it to him. I don't think he's ever actually won a championship. But like all these guys that like you aspire to be champion, and he was lined up to fight the champion. He's like, I don't want to fight the champion. I want to fight McGregor. I'll make more money.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay. So the champ is like third in line. He's just like, well, I'll just wait till someone wants to fight me.
Yeah.
Because these two want to fight each other. No one even wants to. They don't even want the belt.
Yeah.
So you're right. The pay-per-view aspect of life that's changing too.
It's coming. I'm like scratching the surface. I could see like 5 years from now where pay-per-view sports is where it's at.
It takes a very
one-on-one in basketball, like 7-on-7 stuff in football, baseball, home run derbies. It's going to take over the sports world.
No, I agree.
It really is.
It takes a very special person to be sitting in the ring with a broken ankle after just getting pummeled for the first 5 minutes and talking trash about the other guy and his family and his wife. And
I don't want to talk about it, but you're a fanboy. There's very few things that you are as excited about than MMA right now.
And I was rooting against McGregor. Don't get me wrong.
There's like a glimmer in your eye.
It was so much fun
when you get to talk about
so
MMA.
Much fun.
That's cool. Thank you guys for watching the Midday Show. Thank you to Weiss Markets for being our title sponsor. And be sure to go to NorthcentralPa.com for all your local news. We are like a couple members away from 800. We're pushing. Again, we're flabbergasted in a way. Like, we cannot believe the number of people who actually like are joining the group and participating. And I don't know about you. I told you the other day, the amount of people that have come up and like given positive just feedback and thoughts, and just like the people who come up and say like, hey, I saw you guys talk about this, or I saw you guys talk about that. It's pretty cool. It's more than I personally ever thought it would get to when we first started.
I get comments correcting us.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That's why you found out that Wise Markets was from 1912. Because I was like, it has to be like 100 years old. I was like, someone used to work there. It's like, oh, it's 1912.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I get, whenever we kind of take pot shots at things, the people that fall into that group,
yeah.
My
favorite part is people will hang on a subject. Like, they'll like, oh, that one day you talked about that and I didn't agree with this, or I thought that, like, I don't know. That's the neat part to me.
There's still a level of me, and I've done tons of radio, and I used to tell people I'm shocked that people listen. So I'm like, when we go through and we see the numbers of how many, like, I'm shocked at how many people listen. Because it's just like me and you. The conversation that we have here isn't that much different than the hour before.
We could, whether the camera's on or off, the conversations don't change much.
We could do like the Truman Show and just put the camera up and let it, and it really doesn't change a whole lot.
The show wouldn't change.
We eliminate profanity while we're on here, but that's about it.
Yeah, it really is. So thank you guys for watching.
Or when you look at me and say, do you really want to call it stupid people? Do you really want to?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. We might want to tone that one down a little bit.
Yeah, no, I agree.
All All right.
Thank you guys for watching. We appreciate it. And we will be back tomorrow.
Have a good one.